Yes, I am wearing this jacket again, but I don't care because I like it and it's comfy. Hi guys, I'm Dunkle. If you don't know me, I'm a freelance writer, editor, page and stage storyteller. I do a lot of silly things. But anyways, today I'm standing because I have a lot of energy and I want to talk to you guys. Don't mind this. This is going to act as a fake microphone slash fidget for while I talk to you guys. But anyways, I want to talk to you guys about the month of June 2026 for me because that was a very interesting month for me. Why? Because, well, in case I didn't put it in the title, I wrote an entire 2-act play in 30 days in the month of June. Started it June 1st and finished it on June 30th. Now, what possessed me to do that? Great question. So, the Dramatists Guild of America, which is basically a giant countrywide union for writers, like playwrights, hosted an event called End of Play. Now, End of Play, they've done it a couple times before, especially I think they started it around COVID, so that because it was like an online event, and then they weren't able to do it last year, but then they brought it back this year, and instead of April, they did it in June. If they had done it in April, I would not have been able to do it. More on that in a second. But basically, End of Play is if you're familiar with National Novel Writing Month, also called NaNoWriMo, it's basically, End of Play is basically that, but for playwrights, and the instructions are less, specific. Okay, so NaNoWriMo is basically a writer will try and write 50,000 words in the month of November, which is National Novel Writing Month, because 50,000 words is about how much an average novel has. Fun fact, I actually participated this year, but it was to, I tweaked it, so instead of write 50,000 words in the month of November, it was hit 50,000 words by the end of November for the book I was writing, which I did. It was great. Anyways, so End of Play is kind of like that, but for playwrights, but instead of everyone being you have to finish a draft of a play, it could be you get to decide what you do as the playwright. So either you can write 3 10-minute plays, you can edit a play, you can write a full new draft of a new play, things like that. So it's really up to you. The whole point of it is building community through playwrights and letting people have a chance to celebrate their accomplishments with each other, because playwriting, more so than a lot of other writing styles, is oftentimes very a little bit more isolated, because it's a lot harder to share plays what you're working on with a play, because it's just dialogue. That's not interesting to share on social media for some people. So playwriting can, writing itself is a very solitary craft, but playwriting as a whole, within that, can be even more isolating, because it's unless you see the play on the stage, no one else is really going to get your whole vision or stuff like that. I write my plays so that they can be read and performed, but anyways, I decided to participate in it this year, End of Play. I wanted to last year because I was I graduated college, I have time now, and then they didn't do it, and I was very sad, but they brought it back this year, and I'm very happy. And they put it in the month of June, which worked for me, because if they had done it in the month of April, I still would have been substitute teaching and also stage managing another show, so I would not have had time to write. I would have had time to write maybe a 10-minute play, maybe a 1-act if I got really crazy, but I just wouldn't have had enough time to give the work that I chose to start the love and attention it needed for that month. But secondly, the fact that End of Play happened in June was very beneficial for me, because for the month of June, I was unemployed the entire month of June, because basically, TLDR, I'm a substitute teacher. My school district does not need substitute teachers during the summer. Wow, crazy, I know, right? And despite me applying for literally 5 billion jobs from like Christmas of last year to like literally until 2 weeks ago. I didn't get like, I got ghosted, I got denied, I got like turned down, I got into the first round of interviews, and then they ghosted me after that, even though they said they were going to give me another interview. The job economy is great right now, guys. Holy crap. But so I spent the entire month of June scrambling to find a job, and I said to myself, well, if I don't have any way to make money, I'm at least going to start I'm at least going to use my time wisely. So I decided I'm going to do end of play, and I'm going to just write a bunch of stuff. So that was great, and I decided to do that. I have a job now. It's great. Very thankful. It's a seasonal job, so it'll end right like a couple months after school starts. So I'll be able to like whittle that job down and start doing substitute teaching again, and it's going to be great. But yeah, so June 1st comes around, and it's this, there's like a big Zoom meeting for the Dramatist Guild. Also, fun fact, you don't have to be a member of the guild in order to do end of play. Like, I mean, you could do it anyways, you just, like, without an affiliation, but, like, attending, like, the Zoom meetings, they let non-guild members do it. I technically can apply to be a guild member, I just don't have the money for the rights and the dues yet. So I'm working on that. It's on my to-do list. Anyways, June 1st, there's a big Zoom meeting hosted by the guild, and they're like, oh, we're kicking off end of play, it's gonna be great. And in that meeting, I write in my little theater notebook. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna write? My goal is write the first draft of a new play. And I didn't specify length, didn't like page length or type of play, whatever. And then I was like, cool, great. What are we gonna write? And then I remembered something. I remember it was like a year and a half ago, I think, I came up with an idea for a retelling of Sleeping Beauty that is very like irreverent, very satirical, and it was called Bud and Mary. And that stuck in my head because Bud, the more masculine sounding name out of the two, was what the princess goes by, and then Mary, the more feminine name, is what the prince goes by, because it's short for Merryweather, which he is named after from his grandfather. It's great. So I was like, yeah, this play's been, like, I didn't have, like, I had the concept, but I didn't have, like, any scenes, or, like, didn't know what the plot exactly was going to be other than a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. But I decided, I was like, yeah, we're going to tackle this. We're going to see where this goes, because this one's been on the back burner for a hot minute, and this one will be way more fun to work on than a intense philosophical drama. So we're going to do this. So I start doing that, and I'm coming up with characters, things like that, and then I realized, hey, this is going to be the first play that I've written that has, like, ensemble track, because I created 4 characters. They're the king and they're the royal parents of the princess and the prince of different countries, respectively. Sleeping Beauty and her prince, respectively. And I was like, well, they're only in like 5 scenes. I want to give them something to do. So then I created like little ensemble things for them to do, and they can do cool things like puppeteering, like animals, and fun stuff like that. It's great. And yeah, so there's that. And that was one of the challenges. I was like, how do I balance this? How do I balance the encounters and stuff like that? But yeah, so I started writing, and it was great fun. I was basically the way that because I was like, I have to be as maximally efficient as possible, because I thought it was going to be a 1-act. I thought I was going to have a cute little 60-page thing by the end of June, and I'd be like, oh, yippee, we're done, yay! That did not happen. I hit 70 pages in 3 days. And I said to myself, good God, we're writing a 2-act. That's horrifying. So I need to lock in if we're going to finish this, because once I realized it was a 2-act, I told myself I have to finish this 2-act by the end of June, or I cannot call myself a playwright. I have to set arbitrary rules like that for myself to get things done, because I have no real structure when it comes to any of this writing, storytelling stuff. So I have to intrinsically motivate myself like that. Yeah, anyways, So I'm writing and it's great, and it's a lot more fun. If you're familiar with my stuff, I am not known for comedies. I am known for very uh think heavy pieces, like philosophical dramas like I was talking about earlier. But this time with I wrote the first scene, and literally the first line of dialogue is Mary running on stage going, "Ah!" And a wolf is chasing him, and then Bud pushes him down to the ground, and because she's chopping wood, so she's got an axe. He runs on, he screams, she goes, "Oh, I'm so locked in." She pushes him down to the ground. He falls to the ground in the fetal position, and she's like, "Stay there, don't move." And he goes, "Wasn't planning on it." And it just got funnier from there. And yeah, I've really it was very refreshing writing a comedy. Adult-oriented comedy is not the best terminology for it, but I've written a couple kids camp comedies before. So one acts that could be performed and audience viewed, of all ages. So comedies that are a little bit more family friendly. This show still is there's not cussing or anything in it, but the humor is a little bit more adult oriented. So that was my first time. Bud and Mary was my first time writing a play like that, and it was very refreshing because I got to put my type of comedy in the show. So it's very very satirical, very witty. There's some wordplay, and I've I developed a little bit in the stage directions where anytime I want, instead of just saying beat, like what normal playwrights would do, I would say comical tableau moment, cute tableau moment, awkward tableau moment, distressed tableau moment. Just really stupid things like that to let the audience get a little bit of a reaction, and I had a lot of fun with that. And the most I was writing it for most of June, and it was a very fun process. Most of the show was finished in the last 7 days leading up to the thing, because here's the thing, the big problem that I was having was, how in the heck am I gonna finish this? What is the ending of this show? Because the character arc that I gave Bud and Mary respectively, is that Bud, they both have their own character arc that's combined. They both learn the same thing about themselves, and then they realize they both learned that thing at the end, and then they're like, ah, yes, excellent. But at the same time, they also have their own contrasting one where Bud learns to be more vulnerable, because she's a scrappy, she literally has lived in the woods her entire life. So she's used to being alone. She's used to having to look out for herself and not be emotionally dependent on emotionally rely on other people. Whereas Mary over here, he's a very he's a quick thinker. He's intellectual, and he's very soft-hearted, but he is very he has a lot of decision paralysis, and he is very much very timid. So he learns how his solo character arc is learning how to what bravery looks like for him. And that's their character arcs that they go on by themselves. But alongside that is the plot, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, how do we do this? How do we do this plot? Because I originally, when I first started the play, I was like, yeah, and then the curse is they're gonna beat the curse, but not actually, because Moros, that's the name of the evil warlock that puts the curse on Bud, because Moros uses lawyer jargon to loophole his way out of it. So the curse is still in effect, and oh no, Bud's on the ground, half dead, oh no. But then I was like, I want her to be part of the fight. So how does that happen? Well, we can't have her cake and eat it too. She can't be affected by the curse and be a part of the fight unless something happens where the curse is reversed, and then she gets back up, and then maybe like Mary takes on the curse, so he's down, but I want them both to be in the fight. So it's very like, and also I was like, what am I doing with the fight? Is Moros just gonna throw hands? Like, Moros is a wizard. Is he gonna throw hands like not a wizard, a warlock? Moros is a warlock, and there is a difference. Look it up. But like, what would he do? Would he throw hands like a normal human, or would he turn into a dragon? I want him to turn into a dragon because that's extra. And the like, as heartwarming as the end of the show is, with like the realization that the two have, like my two main characters have, there's so much, like, this show is meant to be funny, it's meant to be camp. So I was like, I'm really banking on, if someone ever wants to put this on, they understand that this show is meant to be camp. So yes, it's okay that they have puppets for birds and wolves and dragons. Frick, I think it'd be hilarious if they have Moros, like, for the transformation when he turns into a dragon, he like, and I mean, I might change that. I've finished one draft, but, I would have to rewrite the entire second act if I want to change Moros turning into a dragon, so I don't really know if I want to do that. We'll see. But currently, if it stays where Moros turns into a dragon near the end of the show for the final showdown, like, you could be as big with it or as it lets you, so it's like, if a theater company has the technical capabilities to make it look really cool and terrifying, great. But the way that I wrote this show is also so if a lower budget theater just doesn't have the capabilities to make it look cool, make it look camp! Make it look silly! Because, like this show was a reminder to myself that I shouldn't be taking myself so seriously, which is why I'm making a video where I'm yapping about it, because I'm learning to not take myself so seriously. But anyways, yeah, so then on June 30th, I finished the play at about 5:45 p.m. And then I said, oh my goodness, it's done. And then me and my roommate went to go get fazoli's to celebrate. And then I came back home, and then I did some formatting on it, like making it look pretty. And then 2 days later, I immediately submitted it to another, to a script submission thing. Because I was reading it, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be offended if somebody performed it as it is now. But there we go. Because I'm a lunatic. It's great. But on July 1st, the Dramatists Guild had their meeting, like another Zoom meeting to, like, pens down, they call it, where it's like, okay, we're done with the thing, how'd it go? And I got to talk for 20 seconds. It was like, yeah, so I set out to just write a play that had been, like, the idea had been cooking in the back of my brain for a while, and it turned from a 1-act to a full length to a 2-act, and yeah, I managed to finish it. And brother, my dear reader, I have never seen so many middle-aged people look at me with such terror in their eyes. They don't know how I did it. And I was like, I was unemployed for the entire month, so I literally had nothing better to do. So I am the exception to the rule by a lot. I probably won't be able to do this, like, again, at least not a 2-act in end of play. Good Lord. That'd be insane. Not unless it was me finishing a 2-act I started prior to end of play. But yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's very whimsical, it's very fun, and I hope that somebody wants to put it on, because I think it'd be nifty. And if not, I might try and get some friends together and do a read-through of it anyway, because yeah, it's lots of fun. But anyways, if you stuck around this long, thank you. You're a real one. Thank you for listening to me yap about my newest play that I wrote. And it's lots of fun. So guys, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you around. Goodbye.